Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, brothers and sisters. This is Contemporary Islamic Law. On today's episode of the show, we're going to be asking a very simple question. Are things halal unless proven otherwise, or are they haram unless proven otherwise? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Sayyidina.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Thank you for being with us, sir. So would you kindly explain to us the answer to the question at hand?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. This concept, this discussion, is actually one of the most important discussions embedded in the books of fiqh and usul al-fiqh, Islamic legal theory, where the question, for those who would like to further the research on the matter, is introduced in the following manner. Al-aslu fil ashya al-hilliya am al-hurma. Are things by nature, are they, when Allah created them, are they halal or are they haram? This may seem like a very complex discussion for our show, but indeed, I think we come across a lot of youth, a lot of people, a lot of practicing Muslims that constantly ask, Sayyid, why are so many things haram? Like, did really God create so many things that are unlawful? Or is it that things have evolved throughout time to become so difficult? And is it, the scholars that make things basically difficult for us? When you come across things that in your day-to-day life, and you wonder, is this halal or is this haram? There are obviously certain things where you're sure it's haram. And there are certain things where you know for a fact that they are halal. But then you experience certain things and you wonder, is this halal or haram?
The gray area, basically.
The gray area. And then also, even for new things that come up, and for example, when cloning was a big thing, the first question people asked was, is cloning halal or haram? So obviously we're not going to have an ayah, we're not going to have a hadith that speaks of cloning. Specifically within the madhab of Ahl al-Bayt, within the followers of the madhab of Ahl al-Bayt, we have two schools of thought. One school of thought, which is either extinct or there is a very small number of the Shia that now attribute themselves to this school. And that is the Akhbari school of thought, or the Akhbari school of thought. We, as the followers of Ahl al-Bayt, we're all Akhbari. That's what people don't know. And we slowly then evolved into the second school of thought, which is the popular one, and obviously the majority of the maraja today are Usulis. The founder of the Usuli school of thought was Muhammad Baqir al-Bihbahani. It's not that there was no discussion of usul fiqh prior to Wahid al-Bihbahani, but he was the founder of this movement that went against the Akhbaris. He was born in Isfahan in 1706 and he died in 1791 in Karbala. And the founder of the Akhbari school of thought is Muhammad Amin al-Istarabadi, which died in 1614 in Iran. So what was the main ideology of Wahid al-Bihbahani and what was the main ideology of Istarabadi? Like I said, we originated from Akhbarism. Why? Because our scholars were the narrators of the hadith of the Ahl al-Bayt. So the hadith comes to them and they use that hadith to issue fatwas to the people, or they just simply, like Kulaini, he simply, the book of Kafi by Shaykh al-Kulaini, rahimahullah, is a book that accumulates the hadith of the Ahl al-Bayt in a form of fatwa. For example, he has a section that speaks of salah. There he doesn't give a fatwa. He brings a hadith, and when we read the hadith, it's either that people at that time really had the ability to understand hadiths better than us because they lived closer to the time of the Ma'sumin, or the hadith in itself then had to be explained. Anyhow, so we were Akhbaris. I mean, this is the Shi'as just saw hadiths and read hadiths. But obviously after the occultation, the major occultation, the ghaiba of the 12th Imam, then the hadiths stopped coming, right? We have no new hadiths.
Absolutely.
And now we have to deal with hadith that are fabricated, hadith that are innovated, hadith that have no chain of narrators. So Al-Istarabadi and Akhbaris have several foundations to the Akhbari school of thought. One of them is that everything is haram unless proven otherwise.
Interesting.
One of them is that you cannot use the Quran, an average person like me and you, we cannot use the Quran to derive Islamic law.
Right.
Al-Quran liman khutiba bih. The Quran speaks to those set of individuals. Who are they? لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. Who are the مطهرون? إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت. So the Quran speaks to them, they understand the Quran. Whatever they understand from the Quran, they tell us. And they believe that all of our hadith are sahih, all of our books are sahih. And obviously this had created a lot of damage. You know, unknown books, people fabricating, people inserting lies into our books, even in the time of the Ma'sumin. You know, Al-Imam al-Rida salawatullahi alayhi, Al-Imam al-Sadiq salawatullahi alayhim ajma'in says, كثرت علينا الكذابة. Many people are lying and attributing those lies to us. So then this school was founded by Wahid al-Bahbahani, who was born in Isfahan, like I said, and died in Karbala. And interestingly, he went to Karbala at a time when Karbala was the headquarters of the Shi'i seminary. It was in the time of the Safawis. The Shi'as for the first time ruled the holy shrines. And there was a vibrant city such as Karbala. And he went there and he started introducing the idea that, no, everything is halal unless you know otherwise. There is no reason. God has not made religion difficult for us in a way where we keep on falling into traps. But God has given us a sense of direction, limited us in certain ways that would harm us. But the rest of His creation cannot all be harmful. So everything is halal unless proven otherwise. Number two, we can understand the Quran and it speaks to everybody except the verses that need help from the Ma'sumin, and we seek help from them. And that's a prolonged discussion, inshallah, we'll discuss in another episode. And then he came to hadith. He says, look, those hadiths, prove to me they are hadiths, and I will put them on my eyes, you know, I will be honored to follow them. But prove to me that the Imam really said this.
Makes sense.
Don't tell me the Imam said this hadith because it belongs in our books, because it's mentioned in the book. No, we're not going to take that. And obviously it was a very bold move on his behalf in that time. And until, the Usulis continue with this ideology, until recently, a contemporary scholar by the name of Sayyid Muhammad Baqir al-Sadr introduced a theory by the name of Haqq al-Ta'a. He does not say everything is haram until proven otherwise, but he says something called ihtiyat. Ihtiyat, meaning, look, when you're dealing with things in life, you're going to be cautious, you know. You're not going to park in a disabled parking spot. Or if you think it's a disabled parking spot. You're not going to eat something poisonous, or if you think it's poisonous. So in a nutshell, he says that deal with things, everything with precaution, as if it's haram, unless it's proven otherwise. It looks like our time's up, but this is one of the most interesting topics in the books of fiqh. And for those who would like to further the reading on the matter, I think it's an interesting field.
Absolutely, inshallah ta'ala, and perhaps we can discuss it more on other episodes. And thank you so much, Sayyidina, and thank you, brothers and sisters. Make sure to share with us your questions and comments regarding this topic and any other topic that you have in mind. Until another episode of Contemporary Islamic Law, may you be in the grace of Allah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.